Good morning. Good morning. It is Amanda here with the Barefoot Training Podcast. And I am so excited to talk to you today about prehab. What is prehab? I know it sounds crazy, right? But this is the thing that I base my entire practice off of, which I see so many clients who come to me for functional mobility training, or they're like, hey, my back hurts, my feet hurt, my knee hurt, whatever, right? And so like usually we're in this mindset of we have to wait until we get hurt and we have to wait until we make a mistake before somebody corrects us, right? We have to try and then fail and then we can go ahead and do it the right way. Okay? But I think that that's wrong. No one likes to get injured, and especially since I know so many people that were like amazing, amazing athletes that one injury literally derailed their entire career and they had to go and do something else because the injury was so bad. Even with physical therapy and rehab and stuff. And you hear these amazing stories about, like Tony Ferguson having like a complete knee replacement and coming back 6 months later, which is like unheard of, right? But that just shows you that like him as a professional athlete is a different, like at a different level. Like he's in his own field, right? Um, but anyways, going back to like the prehab idea, it's this really cool thing that pretty much is like trending this year. And it makes me really happy because I'm like, I've been talking about this for so long. um, but prehab is instead of having your body and your body mechanics being moving in a certain way for years or maybe since you have been alive, right? You go and see a professional such as myself, right? Someone who is like knowledgeable in assessing the body and assessing how it moves and making sure that like, hey, if there's anything off, hey, this could lead to an injury. Let's fix it before it leads to the injury. So yeah, now I work with a whole bunch of athletes who anywhere from like tennis playing to archery to kickboxing, and all these people come to me because they're like, hey, I love my sport. I know that you know nothing about tennis or archery, right? But you know a lot about functional mobility and how to stay injury free as long as possible, right? So we work with a lot of smaller muscle movements, right? I try to think of myself more as like that step in between physical therapy and going back to a regular gym if you did get injured. But for the most part, people that are coming in now are people that are looking to not get injured in the first place. Like I had this it's funny because like at the moment when I got injured back in what was it 2021, so like 3 years ago, right? I was going to do my first smoker kickboxing fight out in Virginia. We flew all the way out there. I did my weight cut. I was feeling good about myself. We were about to go training. I was FaceTiming my kid on my phone and I was walking downstairs with all of this stuff in my hands because we were about to leave to go to training. And I missed a stair and literally fell down a flight of stairs right the day before this like super important like fight that was going to kickstart my kickboxing career, right? And yeah, I like severely sprained my ankle. I like jacked up my elbow. um and we pretty much just had to like wrap the ankle and be like, all right, sorry, just go in there, right? And so I had to do my first fight with like a grade 2 sprained ankle. And it was not pretty. Like this lady hit me so hard. I wish I like regretted all of my decisions leading up to that fight. But then, like thinking back on it, it's probably because I wasn't able to move. I was like in the wrong positioning. Um but hey, shout out to Monica. You're great. Um, but anyways, I went through this whole journey of getting injured, trying to recover the fighter way, meaning like don't go to a doctor and get help. That actually ended up making that injury worse. I ended up having to get put into a boot because I jacked up the nerves in my ankle and my foot so bad because the ankle sprain was so bad. And I extended my recovery about three months just because I didn't go and seek help the second that it happened because I was like, it's fine. I could deal with it, right? And how many of us are like that, where we get injured and we're like, it's not bad enough for me to go to a doctor, so I'm not going to go to a doctor, right? Like I was like prior military, so like I have TRICARE, like just go to the doctor, it's like free. um, but like I don't understand that like you know medical stuff can be expensive, but like you're investing in your future when it comes to the prehab approach, right? Um, like some people come to me and they're like, "Hey, I really I don't know if I can afford like personal training." It's like, cool, that's cool, that's fine. That's why we have this like 6-week program where I'm going to show you all the mobility stuff that you're going to need to know. Like, even if you don't remember any of it, like there's going to be something that sticks. And the cool thing about functional mobility training is like the second I tell you, hey, did you know that your foot rolls outwards while as you walk? And you're like, no, I had no idea. And I'm like, and it's because you're not trusting your big toe to actually move and bend. Do you have plantar fasciitis? Like, oh my goodness, yes, I do. How did you know? It's like, well, I've been I've been assessing bodies for like 6 years, and that's a typical sign that you're not walking correctly, and that's actually exacerbating the issue of plantar fasciitis and will lead to other things such as knee pain, hip pain, back pain, because you're not walking in the way that is balanced from left to right. I didn't know I could hit so many topics in 7 minutes. That's amazing. All right. So back to our prehab. So what's the one thing that you can do for prehab without having to see me, without having to see like a functional mobility specialist, right? And also avoiding to get injured, right? That's a good question. So a lot of it comes down to mindfulness, right? Like how often have you been sitting at your desk for hours, right? And then like all of a sudden you come to and you're like, oh, you shake out of it. And then you're like, oh my God, my back hurts. Why did I sit like that? Right. And it's just because we were focused on something else. You were like super committed into your work or something. Uh, but all it takes is like not being aware of how our body is positioned. And then all of a sudden that becomes a habit that leads to an imbalance. So let's say I'm going to talk about I'm going to go with 3 examples of what you can do for different body parts right now without having to come in and see me, right? And then if this works for you, I would love for you to actually schedule a consult and we can actually work on this together because I have so many cool tools that will help you become body aware. Okay. So first thing is I'm going to talk about is the shoulders, right? Um People demonize like desk jobs, right? Like, oh, I have a desk job, so therefore I'm broken, right? That's like the underlying verbiage for having a desk job, right? It's kind of like the same way that people talk about birthdays when you get older. It's like, oh, I have a birthday coming up, so obviously I have one foot in the grave, right? uh I feel like I've always been very young minded, if that's a term, I don't know. But like I feel that as long as I can actively move and like chase after my goals, that keeps me positive for the future. Like me being able to like get up and walk my kid to school or um like move around generally pain free outside of like, like workout soreness and like, oh, I just sat for 8 hours in that position. Why did I do that? Right. Um but like outside of that, like I don't feel like I wake up on my birthday and I'm like, "Oh no. Oh, those years of turmoil, they're coming to me right now. Ah." Right? Uh but the mentality of like staying young and being like, "All right, well, all right, I'm a fighter. I want to go fight. I want to jump out of a plane. I want to I don't know, become a professional bowler." Like whatever it is the thing that you need to do, right? You doing functional mobility training is going to help you uh do that and do that for longer, but also being aware of where your body is while you're working, right? Like live in a society where we literally can't not work on a computer, right? Like I'm on a computer right now and I'm a fitness person, right? But it doesn't have to be demonized. The demon here, right, is lack of movement, right? So if I sit in the same position, in the same desk, in the same chair for 8 hours, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? So even if it's something as little as taking a break, right? Like setting a timer. There's something called the Pomodoro technique where you do 20 minutes of work and then you go step away for 5 minutes, right? You could do something like that resets your brain, that resets your body. That's only a 20-minute time span that you're going to be sitting in that same position before you're like, oof, my shoulder kind of hurts. Why did I do that? Okay, I'm not going to do that again, right? Also, another thing that I like to do when I know I'm going to be on the computer for a long amount of time, I have like a crash pad that one of my friends gave to me, and I'm like, yes, this is awesome. It's pretty much just like a giant couch cushion that my kids can jump on. And I can too. But if I know I'm going to be working on the computer for a long amount of time, I will sit on something like on the crash pad on the floor or on the floor with my laptop on the couch. And that sounds weird, right? Like, oh, that sounds like why would you do that, right? But it forces me to not get into a super comfortable position that I don't feel like I need to move. So let's say I'm writing a book or I'm writing a paper or something, right? I'll take my laptop and I'll go sit on the floor. So yes, I'm super hunched over. I have one leg out. I have like the other leg out. I sit crisscross. I have to stand up. I have to walk around for a little bit. I move to another area. Sometimes I'll like move my computer into the kitchen onto the countertop while I'm working and just like waiting for my coffee, right? But key here for not getting that like those injuries and those mobility issues associated with desk jobs is being able to move all the time. Yes, I know I'm like super privileged by being able to work on a laptop and move around, right? But even if that's not you, if your computer is like a home computer, you got a desktop computer, do the Pomodoro technique where you set that 20-minute timer, 5 minutes walking around, even if it's just like get 5 minutes to get up and stretch. That's going to be like the world of a difference. I know that some people get those standing desks as well. I'm not a huge fan of them because, like, if I have the option to sit, why wouldn't I just sit? Okay. Um, let's talk about body part number 2. So we talked about our shoulders, of how to like, keep moving and stuff and being aware of where our shoulder are in space, right? Let's talk about another issue that people come to me a lot is their feet, is plantar fasciitis, bunions, heel spurs, all of that stuff, right? So thing that you can do right now is you can do tibialis raises, which is pretty much keeping your feet flat on the ground and then raising up or the front of your feet and then bringing them back down. So you're keeping your heels flat and then you're just raising the front of your feet and back down. If this is like this is something you can do as you're sitting at a computer, right? If this is like the first time that you're doing exercises and stuff and you're feeling this, you're going to go for 30 reps of just raising it, bringing it up, pausing for a second and coming back down. Okay. And what this does is this is activating the muscles that are in your calves that strengthen your feet. Okay. And just getting used to being in that movement, right? It's going to help with blood circulation. It's going to help with strength, and it's also going to help with, again, body awareness, right? That's the biggest thing that you want to build when you're doing functional mobility. So that's step 1, right? If you want to amp it up a little bit, you can do a toe raise into a heel raise. So I raise my toes up first, I pause, I go back down, and then I'm going to go into a heel raise to get that extra mobility in my ankles, right? And you can do that sitting if this is your first time, or if you're working. And you can also do this while I'll take a stability ball, I'll lean it against the wall, and then I'll lean against the stability ball. So that way I have like a little bit more of an ankle while you're standing, and then do that same thing. And that is a burner. That, oh man, you'll never realize like how small those muscles are until you start doing those. But it's super important because all of the muscles that move your feet and your toes and stuff, like most of those are actually in your calves, which are underdeveloped because of lack of lack of fancy shoe choices, right? I am a wholehearted believer in barefoot shoes, like not the toe shoes, but like just the flexible sole, wide toe box type of thing. And they're not gonna lie, they're not the prettiest thing, but like, they're functional, so they work. Um, okay, and then last thing that we're gonna talk about is how to improve your lower back from hurting, right? So again, being aware that you are like, if you're sitting for a long period of time, get up and walk around. But also like be aware of your hip tilt. Okay. So if you could picture your hip, like your pelvis, as a cup of water. Okay. So what I'm gonna have you do is you're gonna stand up, right? Stand up. If you're listening to this like while you're driving, don't stand up. You can do this probably while you're sitting in a chair. It's just not gonna give you as much range of motion, right? But think of your pelvis as a cup of water. Okay. I want you to tip it forward, right? Dump the water out the front, back to the center. I want you to tip it back, dip the water out the back, bring it back to the center. And then I want you to dip it out to the side and out to the side. Okay. So I'm literally, if this is my pelvis, right? I'm going forward, back, side, side. Okay. And not only is this going to help strengthen your core stability, it's going to help strengthen your pelvic floor, get you better mind body control of where the heck is my pelvis, right? But you're going to observe and see which part is harder, right? If you go to dump the water out the front and you realize you're already in that position, you're like, oh, how long have I been like this? Like, if you're already in that position, right, your lower back is tight. It's working so hard, and you gotta work on a little bit of abs, right? So doing this every day, right? Just even at your computer breaks, right? Just rocking your hips forward, back, side to side. This is going to help you get that mind body connection with your hips and be like, oof, okay, like that right side super tight. What's going on there? Okay, I just got to do a little bit more hip tilts that way, right? And then the cool thing about mobility is like your pain doesn't just immediately go away, right? Like it's not just like, oh, I have addressed the pain and now therefore I am better. What what happens is this. Let's say you come in with foot pain, right? And you're like, man, my feet hurt. Okay, cool. We address the foot pain. But guess what? Your body does not directly tell you what is wrong. Your body tells you, check engine light. Something is wrong. Find it, right? It's like a really evil Easter egg hunt, right? So you come in and you address your foot pain with functional mobility, strength training, right? So what happens is all of a sudden you're like, why does my knee hurt now? Oh, my knee hurts because I fixed the strength imbalance in my foot. It's no longer the weakest chain in the link. And so now my knee is feeling the pain because the pain is literally moved up. Okay. So okay, we're gonna address the knee issues. We're gonna, make sure to do some multi-directional work. We're gonna do joint strengthening, right? And so it's like, okay, cool. The joint in the knee feels better. My hip kind of hurts. Like, what's going on? My lower, I think I hurt up my lower back. I don't know what's going on. It's like, oh, okay. Well, this is good. Like the pain is slowly moving up the the chain until you find where the actual weak point is in the whole chain that's like causing this issue. And then once you find that, like your whole thing just evaporates, right? Which is awesome. So like came in for foot pain. Oh man, foot pain became knee pain. Knee pain moved up to hip pain. The hip pain actually crosses over the body, right? Like you have this what do you call it? Myofascial sling that crosses up over the body. So this is why like your left arm and your right leg will be the strong ones and vice versa for your weak side. Or if you're what do you call it? If you're right-handed, it's the opposite. So your left hand is your strong side and your right hand or your right leg is your strong leg, right? Um, so yeah, you have this like this myofascial sling that crosses over, right? So like if I'm having pain and irritation on I'm going to go with my right leg, right? So I came in for foot pain on my right leg, right knee pain, right hip pain, it crosses over to the opposite side, opposite shoulder. Okay. So like usually I'm going to say like 80% of the time, 80% of the people that I've seen, this all comes down to their shoulders. So weakness in like the rhomboids, which is the muscle that brings your shoulder blades together, weakness in the, I'm going to say this wrong, serratus. I'm sorry. I've only read this word and people keep telling me it's the other way and I can't remember which is the right way. But it's pretty much the muscle underneath your armpit that brings your shoulder back and makes you do push-ups really good. But those muscles that are weak in your shoulders, again, coming from a computer oriented type of lifestyle, right? Like those are usually the weak points, and our chest muscles are super tight because we're always in this like caved in position, right? So once we can address that, we strengthen the serratus, we strengthen the rhomboids, we get our chest to the position that it's supposed to be, your foot pain goes away. Like how crazy is, and then this is like 2 weeks, by the way. This isn't like years. Like this isn't years of working on your foot mobility. This is 2 weeks of working on your foot mobility. Your body goes, oh, okay, I don't like this. My knee hurts. Oh, I don't like this. Actually, your hip hurts. And you can literally trace the myofascial line up to what your actual weak point is, which is normally in the shoulders. How cool is that? Gotten a little bit off topic, but I think this is all helpful, right? Okay. So I gave you 3 different things that you guys can do right now without having actually to like come and meet me for a session. I would love to see you though. We do like running and walking assessments just to see if there's any muscular imbalances from your right gait to your left gait. If there's any postural twists, which a lot of us have, and you don't even know that you're doing it, which causes headaches and migraines and back pain and digestion issues. Oh, I could talk about this forever, but I'm like 20 minutes in and I'm going to have to call it. Okay. So this weekend is my birthday. Friday, we're starting our 3-day challenge, which is a mental metamorphosis challenge. And this is going to go into how your body is connected to your mind, right? We are literally a single unit. People forget how to have that body mind connection. So we're going to address the body mind connection, and we're also going to go into how your lifestyle, your thoughts, emotions, and actions affect each other, which therefore affect your goals, which therefore affects your physical abilities. So I know, I'm touching on a lot of subjects here, but it's going to be awesome. I would love for you guys to come and join me. It's going to be 3 days. You don't have to be there for the actual time. I would love to have you there live, but it is going to be recorded. So all you got to do is just sign up for free in the link below, and you'll get all the information that I'm going to be throwing out there. I'm also going to be giving away so much free stuff. Like I said, it's my birthday. I don't like to receive gifts on my birthday. I like to give stuff away for my birthday. So I'm going to be giving you guys so much free stuff. Like this, the information I have is priceless. Like it's years of investing in functional mobility, fitness, mindset, motivation, like everything, right? So I would love to have you there. I'm going to call it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay. Bye. Have a great day.